when you have this type of ceiling panels or ceiling tiles on a house that you're planning to sell, or you want to live in it or whatever, you have the option of removing all the stuff and taking thousands of little staples that they use for this purpose, or leaving in there using a little larger screw, longer screws, and using this type of drywall on the ceiling. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take out the crown molding, obviously carefully. Then we're going to go ahead and install the boards, finish out the boards, obviously taking that ceiling fan out and all the stuff and put it back again. Then just kind of go ahead and paint it. So those are the projects that we're going to do in this video, and I hope you like it.
By removing the crown molding, we can actually see now the 1x4s that are on the ceiling, and those are the ones that we're going to use to hang the drywall with 1 5/8" coarse screws. Those are the ones that we're going to use to be able to install the drywall, and then later on apply, in this case, 3 coats of drywall compound. If you're interested in learning how to install that drywall compound, the drywall itself and the drywall compound, I have some more videos that you can see. Now, the technique that I'm using in this case is one that I've been using for many years, and that is that I actually just place some good amount of paint, like 4 times, on the ceiling or on the surface, depending where I'm painting. Then I go ahead and thin it out with the roller. The good thing about it, that technique, is that you can actually have your eyes on the ceiling, in this case, more than on the tray, and that's the big difference. So again, I just take like 4 big chunks of paint and place them on the ceiling. Then I go ahead and thin it out. Now I'm using a reflection of light, and the reason is because sometimes, and I have a lot of people that have that frustration, that they have some thick veins on the ceiling or on the surface after they paint, and that's because the paint was not even when they finish rolling. So by standing at different angles and in different areas, you can actually see where those lines are, and then go ahead and thin it out. Do it before it gets dry. So it's a really cool and practical technique. It's about 10 feet or 9 feet of coverage.
Now that you see the ceiling is nice and smooth. You saw the way I was rolling. So sometimes what I do is that after obviously everything is sanded and all that stuff, I'll go ahead and start doing the rolling by applying like 2 or 3 times some paint on the ceiling, and then thinning it out, feathering it down with the roller, so it looks nice, and actually I can put more of my eyes on the ceiling, making sure that everything is even, instead of just kind of going back and forth into the tray. But anyway, that's a technique that I would suggest you to do. It works really well. That brown band that you see there is the space where the crown molding used to be. So what we're going to do now that we install this is to install back again the crown molding. We took all the nails out, and we're going to install them exactly where they were before. We're going to go ahead and use 2-inch nails and caulk, painting caulk, to put it over there, let it dry, and apply the flat finish paint, ceiling paint. So that you can actually just buy the ceiling paint, or you can use some flat paint, or any color that you want. That's a suggestion. So we're going to go ahead and do the stuff and continue with the painting of the ceiling.
With the surface prime and smooth, we go ahead and install the original crown molding back again. Now you go ahead and clean the surfaces. Obviously you don't want to have a lot of caulk over there, and by using, in this case, a 2-inch nail, these are 16 gauge nails, pneumatic guns, and you go ahead and put the molding. So that molding was previously kind of placed there, and we made all the marks so we can actually know where those corners meet. The reason is that when you're installing crown molding, the corners are the ones that are more critical. So if you want those lines to meet, you want to go ahead and put them before any nail, and make some marks so you know where exactly they will go. By doing the stuff, this crown molding actually had a way that was laid out. In other words, there is a section that is not cut, and then the other one that has the angle or the cut, and they do something called a technique called coping. So that's that they actually cut it at an angle, and they actually saw the back of the contour of the molding, so it can actually meet the corner. Later on I will make a video about it, but the Important thing over here again are the corners. You want to go ahead and do the stuff, and actually as you go installing and putting nails on the surface, you leave these little perforations, obviously, because every nail will leave you a perforation. For that we actually use vinyl spackling or drywall compound, and we kind of leave a generous amount. We use our fingers and we put it on top of the nail hole, and they will actually sink in. So if you put some little extra when those holes, the compound of the holes dry, they actually are easy to sand, and the surface will be nice and smooth and flush. On the bottom and on the top we use painter's caulk, this paintable caulk that will allow us to just kind of leave a nice smooth surface. We had a little challenge obviously because these wooden panels have these grooves, and you have to apply a lot more on those grooves to be able to kind of have them closed, otherwise it will look kind of odd to see some little perforations on the bottom or some holes on the bottom of the crown mold. The top obviously is easy, and I encourage you to install this as the mold is as close as to the surface as possible. If you have like wavy ceilings, obviously you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have some bigger gaps, but the closer to the surface the better, because you will avoid using a lot of caulk. And just don't forget to put enough nails, because that will help to maintain the surface really well. So once you have to allow the caulk to dry for about 4 hours at least before you start painting. And the reason is that if you put the strokes of paint on top of the stuff, you're gonna drag all the caulk, so you want to make sure that it's dry. And what I do to start cutting, that's what I'm doing is called a technique is called cutting. And what I do is that I actually use a regular 2.5 inch angles brush, and a painting brush, and I will leave a link so you can actually get those brushes. It's really good. And I use a roller so I can roll the section and avoid leaving all those heavy marks of the brushes on the surface. And I start kind of the painting process on that area in a nice and a smooth way. So that's what I do throughout the entire perimeter, and just to make sure that the area is fine. And I use a scaffold, in this case a small platform actually, because 8-foot ceiling. So I use a small platform, and I'm able to move a little easier that way. These platforms are only like 24 inches high, so that's perfect for you to be right there on top of that, working really really easy. You can see where you're putting your roller. So lighting is critical. Not only when you're putting your primer and when you're doing that stuff, but lighting is really important. And as you move the light, you can actually see a lot of imperfections, a lot of things that you leave, and you go ahead and correct them. All these things, sometimes you just miss a little section, and don't hesitate to just kind of correct it. But if you notice the way I roll, I save a lot of time and space. And again, when I roll, a lot of people will ask, well, I mean, maybe it's too thick, maybe it's too thin, and that is something that you need to develop. That technique is something that you need to try and see for yourself, because it's a really good technique, and you can save a lot of time by having an area. Obviously, the surface on the floor has to be clear, so you can actually perform the way I'm doing over here, applying good amounts of paint. I actually waited for the first coat of the ceiling paint to dry, and then apply the other one. That's why it's really important to have primer on those surfaces, because the more you have the area covered before you put the paint, the less paint you're going to use. So let's continue with the last part of the segment.
And now this is the final part of this video. So you saw the transformation from having those acoustic tiles on the ceiling to this nice and smooth surface. You can go ahead and install your light fixture, your fan, whatever you want to do. And that's pretty much it. So while I was speeding up in those video clips, take those recommendations that I gave you there, and make sure that you just save some time and effort by just kind of following some steps that I've been learning through many years of this. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you have comments, please go ahead and do it. Like this channel so other people can see it as well. See you in the next one. Bye bye.